Hey, today we're going to talk to an archer that has a real passion for being outdoors. Hi, my name is Roy Canterbury. I'm going to be hosting today on Archery Talk 101. And on the show with us today, we have Tommy. Or Tommy, no, we just talked, I down me this morning. Yeah, Mike. Mike. So Mike, now that I got the name right,
All right.
Introduce yourself with the correct name.
My name's Mike Johnson. I'm from Bristol, Tennessee. I'm just a good old country boy that likes shooting archery, getting people started in archery. I've shot everything from when I started, I've been shooting for 40 years since I was 12 years old. I'm 52 today. And actually a good friend of mine in school, Kevin Woods, and his dad, James, asked me to go to a 3D tournament. Well, actually in 1984, it was a 2D pretty much targets and paper targets on hay bales, what we started shooting at. And then it's evolved from that to the 3D targets we shoot today. And when I went to that, it was just like, man, I love this. And I've not quit it ever since. I mean, I've been shooting since I was 12, like I said, last 40 years. And I started out shooting a compound with no sights because my dad said back then, he said, sights are too high. You're just going to have to shoot the bow and the arrows and do your best. So I done that for several years till I got me a job and I could buy some sights. But I tried the sights, I tried the releases, I've tried scopes, but I'm into traditional archery now. I'm shooting a Hoyt Satori, and I really like the traditional side better because it's just a lot more of a challenge. You know, you don't rely on everything. You pretty much just use the bow and the arrow. And I just went wild over that in the last 3 or 4 years and went through several bows and just can't get enough of it. It just amazes me how you can just take a bow and an arrow and hit the target without any sights or any help. It amazes me, the guys that can really do it good. And that's why I like it. It's just so much of a challenge.
Oh yeah, it is. There's a lady I watch once in a while on TikTok that she'll shoot through CDs, the hole in the CD or a cassette player. She throws stuff up and hits them, and no sights. It's just the recurve, and that's it.
I mean,
she practices all the time.
The Vegas shoot was this past weekend. I watch it. The Lancaster was before that. I watch all the ASAs on YouTube every week when they start. But it amazes me, the barebow people. I mean, I get a bigger kick out of watching that. I mean, I know it's hard to hit a target. You know, you got a scope at 50 yards, but to see them guys with no sights or anything, that's really the amazing thing to me.
Yeah, it's amazing. So when you're shooting, do you just use instinctive shooting where you just kind of look at the target, or you use your arrow? Or
I've done both, and I just pretty much look at the target and I pretty much gap it. I use the end of the arrow, and I'm trying that now, but I'll go back. You know, I've got several DVDs, and I've got a real good group of traditional guys that live here close to me. Just to name a few of them: Jack Rudy, Alan Altizer. Y'all probably heard of him. He just lives 15 minutes down the road from me. He's one of the best instinctive shooters I've seen. Jack Rudy, like I said, Dennis Smith, Bobby Park, Stacy Graybill, Tony Scott. Just to mention Jack Rudy for a minute, this guy is one of the most phenomenal shooters I've ever seen. He's 80 years old, and usually every week he just can't be beat. I mean, he just shoots a self bow and wood arrows. I mean, it's just phenomenal to watch this guy shoot, you know. But that's what really inspired me is, man, watch these guys shoot so good, you know, and on a 300-point course, they're shooting 270, 280, 290 with a wooden arrows and a bow. A lot of them is made themselves, which that just amazes me more than the latest technology. You know what I mean?
Yeah, especially when you get, you know, compound shooters sometimes aren't even doing that good.
Right. Well, the practice thing, you know, with them stick bows like this, you've got to practice. Hand-eye coordination's got to be there. You know, with the compound, you get it set up, get everything right. And, you know, your yardage, like you've got a lot of classes that can use a rangefinder, which you still got to make the shot, don't get me wrong. But
right,
you go out there and take an arrow and you can put it in that kill zone of that animal. It's amazing. I mean, I think everybody should give it a try and just see how hard it is. But to watch somebody really do it good is amazing. I mean, they make it look so easy, but it's really not.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of really good traditional archers out there, and that's what I started. You know, when I started back in the 60s, there was no such thing as a compound bow.
No.
That didn't exist until the 70s.
Right.
And I remember the first time I shot a compound bow, it was actually my brother's. He bought a bear whitetail too.
I've had
And I shot it, and I shot it for quite a while, and I finally got my own. But yeah, I've been pretty much exclusively compound, but I have a recurve that I shoot once in a while. We have a Bill Iverson says, "What's up, brother?" in the chat.
Hey, Bill.
Yeah, it's always fun to get people to make comments in there,
Oh, yeah.
and it just we're all archers. Basically, if you're an archer, we're a friend.
Oh, yeah. That's
You
me.
know,
I'm on Facebook. Anybody that knows me knows I'm on Facebook a lot. And I've actually started some pages, just a few of them. Appalachian Archery Addicts is one, Tennessee Trad Mafia is one, and Stick and String Cowboys is one. And we just video a lot, our tournaments and stuff like that. And then I'll come home and put it on these sites just for other people to try to get people that's not really know what's going on with archery, get them involved. That's what I like to do. Either, a young person or even an older person, it's never went. Once they go and see how fun it is, it's like, man, I want to go with you, next week, and just get them started, which I like that. It makes me feel good to get other people interested in what I like.
Yeah, learning archery and becoming an archery instructor in 95, then having my own store, about 20 years ago. I started, I had a store. I bought a sporting goods store, and here in Omaha, because I'm in Nebraska, and
Right.
it's amazing how many people that get out there for the first time. And then after I closed my store, I worked at Cabela's and Bass Pro both. It was Bass Pro first, then Cabela's, then they merged. But
Right.
in archery, and it's amazing to take somebody that's never shot before. Yeah, even adults, kids you get this all the time, but adults never shot before, and work with them, and all of a sudden they shoot, and that first shot goes off. Because whenever I sold a bow, I also taught them how to shoot. I didn't say, well, here's a bow, go away. It's like you're going to have an hour's worth of instruction with the bow. At that time, it's like, that's $100 with added on to the value of the bow that you didn't pay for. Because I wanted you to know how to shoot. I wanted you to enjoy it. And it's amazing how many times somebody would shoot and that first shot would go off, and it's like, oh, this is fun. I want to do it again.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like a lot of people go these 3 days. What are you talking about 3D? They don't even know how long has these tournaments been going on? I said, well, I've been doing them since the 80s, and they was going on before that. Now it's blew up. It's bigger than it's ever been in years now. There's more shoots, more clubs, more going on, more to watch, more YouTube videos. And I watch a lot of YouTube, and it's just amazing to watch these guys and how much they want to help you, be better at what you do.
Well, I know in 95, when I become an NFA archery instructor, I put my instructor patch on the side of my 3D rig, for my quivers. And I just put the patch on there, figured, okay, they see the patch, know I'm an instructor. If they have a question, they come ask me. I never went to them and said, hey, you're doing that wrong.
Right.
Yeah, well, wrong from the way I do it.
Yeah.
And it's just a lot of fun, teaching. And
exactly. And like you said, and I said, I've been doing it for 40 years, but now I learn something all the time, every day, that I didn't know, especially this traditional archery where I hadn't been into it very long. I'm learning things from these guys. I mean, they can tell you something in 10 minutes that would have took you 6, 8 months, or maybe in a year to figure out yourself. That's what's so good about it. These trad people, anywhere you go, any place I've been, it's always, if you got a question, let me know, or here's some arrows, try these. I mean, they're just so helpful, which makes you feel good, because anybody new to anything, they've always got questions. I know I do, and it's just real good to have people to help you out, and just be so nice to you.
Yeah, and I know, being archery as long as I have, and then having an archery store when I close the store, of course, I have a lot of stuff left over because I sold the fishing part of it off, and so I have all the supplies, and I got boxes full of archery stuff. So, somebody's like, hey, they're starting out, they can't afford this stuff. It's like, and not the best respite, it's brand new, never been used.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was a PSE dealer, so a lot of my stuff's PSE, but
I had a lot of PSEs when I shot compound. I bet you 10 or 15 of them. I mean, I was they love to see me come in the archery shop because if something new come out, they say, "Hey, come back here, look at this bow. Won't you shoot it?" And I said, "I don't want to shoot it. I'll buy it." About 2 or 3 days later, I go there and pick it up. I've done that forever.
Yeah, I used to tell people that when they come into the store, and it's like, they're looking at it and it's like, want to shoot it? Well, if you shoot it, you're going to buy it. You're going to want to buy it.
I've been there. Yeah.
And sure enough, it's like, oh man, this is nice.
Yep.
Just every year they come out with new ones. And nice thing with what PSE did is they had their main line and then the pro line. So if you're actually a pro shop owner, you could get those bows. Right. And nice thing about the way they did it is the main line changed every other year. Well, the years in between, the Pro Series changed. So you had 2 years to sell the same bow as brand new because they didn't change anything on it.
Gotcha.
And, so you at least had, 2 years before you had something new come out.
Exactly. Yeah, technology's just put it in high gear for the last several years. I mean, it's amazing the speeds on these compounds and, the releases they've come out with now and the targets look surreal, and it's just a good time to be in archery right now, in my opinion.
Yeah, and some of the bows are pretty fast. I know in 2001 when I become a PSE dealer, the bow I have was a 2001 Carrera, and it's rated to 320 feet per second.
That was smoking back in. I remember that bow.
Oh yeah. I still have it. That's my hunting bow.
Oh really?
Yeah, that's what I hunt with. And then a couple years later, they come out with Scorpion.
I had one of those.
And did you have the single cam or the 2-cam one?
I think I had the single cam.
Okay, you got the same one. I still have that one. Yep. They had that 1 year, and then the next year they come with 2-cam, then they dropped it for some reason. I don't know. If you look on the data sheets, they only show the 2-cam one.
Right. I had when they come out with that AR, I had one of those, archery. Right. They was quiet. But now getting back to PSE, I had the Stingray, the little short. It wasn't like 30 inches axle to axle, and it was awesome for a tree stand. But
yeah,
I got a little bigger since back then, so I hunt from a ground blind all the time now. Turkey hunting, deer hunting, whatever, pig hunting, whatever. I'm a ground blind man.
Yeah, nice thing about the ground blind is you can move around a little bit.
Exactly.
And up here in Nebraska, it's nice because it's a little warmer.
Oh yeah, cuts the wind
Get out
off.
of the wind.
Now, a lot of people ask me, said, "Are you afraid of heights?" I said, "No, I just ain't really afraid of heights. It's just I carry so much stuff plus a tree stand, and if you walk a long ways and if you end up lucky enough to kill a deer, you got all that stuff plus you got your deer to drag back out." But I said, "Now trust me, the falling part is always number one. Safety is always number one. But now I don't tell a lot of people this, but I have fell out of my seat while I was in my ground blind, but it didn't hurt me because I didn't have that fur to fall."
Yeah.
Them ground blinds are real warm when the sun hits them early in the morning. I'm telling you, you'll go to sleep every time.
Oh yeah. I've done that. I was out turkey hunting one time, and I was like, it's nothing's moving, and I don't hear any turkeys or nothing. I'm kind of dozing off. I kind of dozed off, and all of a sudden, there it is, whack.
Yeah.
They kind of come in and attack the plastic turkey decoy.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I've had cows come in, attack them, knock them over, and all kinds of stuff. But I love them blinds because I've had stuff just so close you wouldn't believe it. It's just amazing how close something gets to it.
Yeah, I like the visibility out of a tree stand.
Oh, I do too.
You can see all over, but
exactly. That's one of the things, the bad things about a blind. You can't have that visibility like you can with a tree stand. But what I tell a lot of people, if it's raining, they're worth every penny a ground blind is, because they ain't 100% waterproof, but you'll be a whole lot drier in one of them than you will in a tree stand.
Right. Tree stand, you're getting all of it unless you put those little umbrellas up above you. And, and then it's up so high that it's probably not going to help you anyway.
No, especially if a wind's blowing.
Yeah. I remember one time I was in a tree stand, and it wasn't a real big tree, and the wind for some reason just blowing like crazy. And if a deer come by, I wasn't gonna be able to shoot him because I had to hold on to the tree stand, make sure I didn't fall out. It was moving. It's like moving back and forth, and it's like, oh man, that's.
But it never happens until you get up there, sit down, get your bow up, get everything situated, and sit down. That's when the wind starts. It won't start before you go up, or you probably wouldn't go up, but it'll start when it quits. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And when it's that windy, I've never seen a deer walk. If I did see them, they were running on as fast as they could. You weren't going to hit them anyway. So
Yep,
if that
exactly.
windy, yeah, you might as well just go home.
Yep.
Or find some place the wind's not blowing down in the valleys or
Exactly.
something.
I agree with that.
Yeah, that's interesting. Some of the stories that you get when you're out hunting.
Oh yeah.
That's been what's the most interesting hunt you've been on?
Most interesting hunt I've been on. Probably have to be a hog hunt I went on in 1994 over in North Carolina. It was with a bow. I mean, it was probably the biggest animal I've ever seen in the woods and the most exciting, right in your face shot. End up shooting 4 times, and I was shooting a Mountaineer Ultra Cam at that time with 2114 aluminum arrows, Terminator 125 broadheads. And I thought back then, it was a double cam, like a hatchet cam bow, like on a high country, probably shooting 230 feet a second. But back in, man, that thing, it was the top of the line bow, and I loved it. Shot the hog. You come by the stand at about 18 yards. I thought I'd missed it. Got to looking. I said, man, surely I hadn't missed that hog that close. Much as I shoot and everything's going through the head. And he just went up there and just laid down right in the path. I got my binoculars. I said, there's no way I missed. Well, I was looking on the ground, seeing my iron blood just dripping off of it. And I said, well, it's pretty easy. He's laying up our dead, The guy had come through there and he's on a 4-wheeler. And he said, did you see that big old hog come through here? I said, yeah, I just shot it. He got down, run up there to me. He said, get your stuff and come on. Said, we'll have to get on the trail before he gets the mud hole, stops the holes up. And I said, well, he's laying right up there. I said, I seen him laying there. He's dead. He said, no. I said, they just play like that till you get up on them. And then he said, they'll hurt you. He said, if he gets up, you just throw your bow down, grab a hold of the tree, lift your legs up. He said, it's too good. I said, he ain't moved in 10 minutes. And he said, well, come on, we got about, 15 yards, I guess. He said, can you hit him from here? I said, yeah, I'm pretty sure. He said, well, shoot him again. I said, okay. Well, I shot him again. And perfect shot, double lung right in there. And the old hog just stood up and turned and looked at me and the guy down the hill with blood running out of him, there sticking out of him. He said, that's what I was telling you. I said, what do we do now? He said, if he starts this way, just throw that bow down, get up a tree. He went out here, we was after him. I shot again and hit him. He got under a brush pile and tried to hide, and I shot him again and hit him. He said, shoot him again. I said, buddy, I'm out of arrows. He said, do what? I said, I'm out of arrows. He said, well, how many arrows did you bring? I said, 4. He said, well, where's the other arrow? I said, it's down there in the ground. I shot through him the first time. He said, well, run down there and get it. So I run back down there and got it, come back up there, and end up shooting him and finally killed him. He weighed 272 pounds.
That's a big hog. Yeah. That I've always heard they're a tough animal, especially when you get on the bow.
They are.
I went out hog hunting once and trying to get on the bow, and then last day we ended up getting, buddy brought a rifle. Instead of setting up for an archery shoot, they just assumed there was 2 guys going to hunt rifle. It's like, no, I want to shoot out with my bow. So I'm kind of standing in the doorway, wait for them to come by. And it's down in the southern part of Texas, and so the next day I was able to get a couple with the rifle, but hey. Why not, right?
They're a lot tougher animal to kill than a lot of people think. I mean, they fool me. It could take that much, punishment and stuff, and still he walked off like he never been shot. He never even made no kind of noise or nothing. I mean, he's just tough.
Yeah, you probably went, soft tissue going through, it went right through. It didn't hit anything hard, and right through.
Yeah, he didn't make much noise, but I'm telling you what, we cut him up. I was a meat cutter, me and a buddy of mine, for several years. And I boned him, I cut him up, brought him home. That's probably the best pork I've ever eaten anywhere. I've eaten it everywhere, but now nothing's like killing them in the wild like that. They just don't compare.
Yeah, they're not, fattened up, from just eating grain and stuff. They're eating, actually probably a much better diet.
Oh yeah, yeah. They ain't injected with anything like you get at the store. It's a whole lot better for you in the long run anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember one time when I was in an archery club, this guy joined the archery club because they found out his son had been having trouble, didn't know what it was. Come to find out, it's all the hormones and stuff they stick in the beef. So he was out, shooting deer to have meat for his kid to eat, because
Exactly.
you can't buy meat in a store like
No,
that's not injected with something, and you got to find
no,
a farmer that is going to raise them that way, and that meat's probably really expensive because it's
exactly.
they can't keep their herd as healthy,
No, there's no
because
way. And, one of the other groups I'm in is what they call a backyard bow pro. I'm in the Southwest Virginia section of it, and it's just a group of us. We all deer hunt, we bow hunt, we rifle, we muzzleloader. And what the main thing that backyard bow pro does, feeds the hungry. We got a processor we take the meat to, they process it, and they give it out to people in that area, like needy families or people just want meat that can't buy it. They ain't got enough money to buy it. We donate all our deer we kill every year to the families in this area in Southwest Virginia, which I think that's a great thing to do.
yeah, there's several other programs out there that hunters feeding hungry, and
Right, right.
you have extras. Sometimes you get more than what you can really use, and
Oh yeah, yeah.
especially when you can get sometimes 5-10 deer in a year, especially here in Nebraska, they're pretty good sized, and
Oh yeah, big ones.
yeah, I could probably eat 2 or 3 deer in a year, but when I first started, one deer lasted a year and then some because they didn't know how to fix it. And as you learn
Right,
how to fix it, then it goes on and on and on. And there's one year
right.
my freezer was full and got another deer, and so I just okay, jerky time. It lasted about 2 weeks. My kids want
I've
jerky
never,
before it's ready.
I've never seen nobody turn down jerky. Never.
No, no, even if they just think it's regular beef jerky, when they eat it and it's like, it's good. You tell them
Yeah,
was deer, and it's like, oh yeah, but yeah, it's they say it's good, and then when you find out what it is, me, I'm kind of
right.
the other way around. Yeah,
It's a whole lot better for them anyway. I gotta leave.
yeah, there's no fat in deer jerky,
No, not at
because
all.
if you do, it's not gonna taste good.
No.
So, do you shoot a lot of 3D tournaments then, or?
Yeah, I shoot. Well, we've got a couple clubs. They really like to shoot. They'll shoot one if the weather's permitting, right on through December, January, February. But most of the time around my neck of the woods, which is around Tennessee or East Tennessee, mostly start out around last of February, 1st of March, and then they'll run every weekend until about bow season in September. I mean, there's somewhere to shoot around here every weekend, and I've got a lot of indoor leagues that shoot indoor dots and stuff like that. But I mostly just do the 3Ds on the weekends and stuff, and I don't shoot many indoors. I like the 3D. I just like it a lot better than I do dots.
Yeah, I prefer to shoot the 3Ds instead of the targets. I do
Right,
target shooting because that develops your skill. You're going to hit your target. And then I like the
exactly.
3Ds because it helps you in judging your yardage. So now put the two
Right,
together, and now then, okay, I know I can hit the spot. I know the distance, so
right,
I know I can hit it. And now
right.
then it's all for hunting. That's
Right.
why I look at it.
Yeah, there ain't no
Me
better
personally, I'm not
practice.
too enthused about target shoots. Just
No,
shooting at the spots. They don't do much more of it. I'd rather go to a 3D tournament
oh,
and
I
shoot
would too.
those.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people that just love shooting the red
Oh
spot
yeah,
targets,
it's
and
amazing. Like the Lancashire shoot and they shoot. I mean, thousands of people are shooting from all over the world. There was people from Spain, China, the Netherlands, everywhere shooting up at Lancaster. It's fun to watch, but it's like you said. I'd rather shoot 3D. I like to be outside. I like scenarios set in the woods like I'm going to hunt it, just more realistic, and I just like it better.
yeah, that's each person's gonna be a little different what they're enjoy doing, and
Right.
you know,
Right. Well,
I
if they're shooting bow, that's fine. Whatever you like to do.
yeah.
That's just my own personal opinion.
Well, and you kind of almost need to start off with target, just
Yeah.
just shooting targets, until you learn how to shoot and get your form
Exactly.
down, and
Right.
there's a lot for form, just I'm looking at how people are shooting, and those that want to really take it to the next level are going to take advice from somebody that has a little more knowledge in
Exactly.
that.
Right.
So do you don't have a compound anymore then? Is that what you said?
No, I don't have a compound. I've got actually got a set of limbs ordered today, and I've got a riser, and then I'm waiting on the mailman to come out. I bought another Hoyt, a Fred Eichler edition Hoyt with the limbs and everything. I'm waiting on it to get here today and set it up. So I can tell everybody, you always need two bows. Something might happen to one.
Right, right. Yeah, that's why I have my hunting bow and my target bow. They're both camoed, and then I have another
Right.
one that I was able to get for a real good price, and it's a
Right.
bear. It's not a PSE, it's a bear in a snow camo, but I haven't got it set up because
Right.
I just never set it up.
Right. Right. Well, last year, I'd never shot a crossbow. A lot of people shoot crossbows, and where I'm at now, anybody could go hunt with one. You don't have to have a special permit or whatever. And, my dad, he shot a crossbow for the last 30 years. He's got a lot of shoulder and back trouble. Last year, about 2 weeks before deer season, he said, I want you to look at something. So I went up there and looked, and opened this case up, and he had a real nice crossbow, 10 point, had a scope on it, a case, the bolts, everything. And he said, "You want you a crossbow?" I said, "I hadn't really thought about it." He said, "Well, here," said, "Early Christmas present. You can have it." I said, "Really?" "Yeah." So I took it to my local bow shop down here in H&S Honey and Elizabeth down here, and had the guys look at it. And I said, "I don't know anything about crossbows. What does this need? Is it good? Is it not?" He said, "Oh yeah, that's a good." He said, "All you need is a new string." I said, "Well, put a new string on it." So they said, "Well, you need certain size bolts and stuff." So I'm a member of Luminoc. I'm an assistant manager of the field staff. So I got me some Luminoc bolts and some Luminoc nocks. And I took it last year, got it set up. I mean, it's just deadly. I set it up 25 yards dead on. And so I'm going to take a shot over that I could. But the places I hunt is kind of thick. So I set it dead and got it all set up, sitting there in the ground, behind, getting about real good time of evening. Big old doe come in. It's probably wasn't 12 yards. And I put the scope, put the crosshairs right on her, squeeze the trigger. That little knock, man, it went right through her. Just like she went standing there stuck in the ground behind her. I watched her take 10 steps and she just fell over. I mean, it was the most deadliest shot probably ever put on a deer in my life.
That looks like we lost his video. Yeah, 10 points are really good bows. And nice thing about the crossbow is the fact that you don't have to worry about what draw weight you're pulling. Kids can shoot them, and we'll wait and see if he can get back in. His as you can probably hear, his audio was kind of breaking up, but yeah, 10 points are really good bows. They're I've used to put a bunch of those together when I was working at Bass Pro, and that was just the main one that we like putting together because they went together so well. And nice thing about them is they're fairly flat. So we'll see if we can get joined back in. Kind of internet problems, one of those things that you have once in a while. And yeah, no more comments in the group yet. But yeah, it's interesting when you have different areas of the country, how they hunt different. Here in Nebraska, we don't hunt too many hogs because there's not really a big population of hogs around here. I think out further west there might be, but there's mostly just a white tail for the deer around here, and then out in the panhandle we have the mule deer, a little bit different. We have lots of turkeys around here. I even have turkeys that are really close, but in a mile from me, there's about 3 dozen of them that hang around there, and that's not land I can hunt, so I gotta see they go during the day, kind of track them down so I can try and get some this year. Let's see if he's getting, yeah, getting back in. Wait for his audio to connect. And it should be here pretty soon. Oh, yeah, lost him again. Well, he'll get back in. So yeah, it's been really really interesting talking to archers on the podcast. There we go. Looks like we're just about there. Yeah, sometimes the internet is kind of slow, but yeah, it's been interesting running podcasts here. Welcome back, Mike.
Yeah, I had a little difficulty there. Had a power surge here at the house. The daggone electricity blinked a couple times and it went off.
Yeah, your voice was starting to break up a little bit, so it didn't surprise me. And so I just kind of chatted a little bit while you were gone, waiting to come back in. I knew you'd connect back in, so
Oh yeah,
that's if you could anyway. And you're back in, a little bit better picture, a little better sound again. So anyway, continue with your story that you were going through.
Well, like I said, the doe come in. I'd shot her. The Luminoc went right through her, just like she wouldn't stand there. Like I said, went up her about 10 steps, fell over. That's one thing that I really like about these Luminocs. I hadn't been, like I say, I'm on the staff and stuff for the last 2 or 3 years. Never used them before, but I don't see why, because it was getting right at dark. Is that time if you're going to shoot something, it's going to happen. And I can't tell you how much these Luminocs have made a big difference in my hunts. Like, for instance, you don't know where you'd have missed that deer or hit it. You could see the Luminoc. I could see it 50, 60 yards from where I'd have shot. You know, if you was looking 50, 60 yards down in the holler where I was at, you could see that Luminoc shine. And went up there and got the deer. Just like recovery, I could see her from the blind. End up gutting her right there. Got her heart. I just wanted to see how close to the heart I got. It was a perfect cut right through the heart. Just exactly good, clean, quick kill like you always wanted. And I was just happy as could be.
Yeah, that's it's always nice when you can track them. I know on my my hunting arrows, I have a reflective white wrap on them that I put in down below the feathers. I shoot feathers. I still do. I'm just kind of old school. I never advanced to veins and shooting traditional stuff. That's really what you want to shoot, because
you got to shoot the feathers. Yeah.
And you know, so I put the wrap on there, and there is one time I was looking for my arrow, and it's like, oh, at night, you know, use the LED flashlights really shine there, and it was just glowing. It was underneath an evergreen tree. I'd have never found it otherwise.
Oh no. So I've shot, you know, out here shooting these recurves and stuff. I always don't hit what I'm shooting at, you know. Could shoot low, could shoot high, or whatever. But like I say, these Luminocs, we've shot them at the tournaments. You can walk right over, even in the daylight. You can look down there and not even have to get close and say, you know, right there it lays. I mean, it saves you arrows. You know where you hit your game. If you missed it or you hit it, save you a lot of sleepless nights. If you think you hit it, you didn't hit it or whatever. They're just the best lighted nocks I've ever used, you know, my opinion. They're the best.
Yeah, that's the only ones I've used or know about. There's probably other ones that are out there, but if I'm gonna get a lighted knock, it's Luminoc.
Oh yeah, all the way. Yeah. All the way. Light them up with Luminoc. That's what the slogan is. And it's exactly that. Light them up. I mean, it's the best knock, like I say, out there. I'll never use nothing else.
Well, and sometimes, you know, the little slogans are actually facts, you know, like Muzzy's bad to the bone.
Exactly. Yeah.
I've seen Muzzy's shatter bones and not care.
Yeah, I used to watch. I've got a lot of DVDs. I've probably got every hunting DVD on bow hunting here, somewhere in the house here somewhere. And I used to watch all them Dan Fitzgerald videos when he shot Muzzies, shooting through them 55-gallon drums and all that stuff. Of course, he's pulling, you know, 100 pounds, but still, he had a heck of a good broadhead, and it done the job.
Well, I shoot 70, and I was when I had my store, I was shooting after I got done work. I was shooting in my broadhead target, and I missed. I hit the concrete block wall instead of the target. And I went up there, the Muzzy broadhead sticking in the concrete block.
I wouldn't doubt that at all. They're tough.
The insert cracked in half, and
Right.
the shaft cracked back about an inch or two and was laying on the ground, but the broadhead was stuck in the concrete block.
Exactly.
I still use that broadhead today.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
On the Backyard Bow Pro team, we use Grim Reapers, and I've never had a problem with them at all. I use the cut on contact where I shoot recurve or whatever. But now out of that crossbow, I use the cut on contacts and the expandables, but I've never had a problem out of either one. They use a real good blood trail, easy to follow tracking. And I'm a type of person, if I use something and I don't have no problems, I won't switch to nothing else till I do. Once I have a problem with it, I'm done and go to something else. But the Grim Reapers, I've never had no problems at all, and I'll keep using them.
Yeah, my first broadhead, when I got my first set of broadheads, I asked the lady at the shop, it's like, well, which broadhead should I shoot? She said Muzzy. I still shoot Muzzies.
Right.
That's what's on my arrows now. Now I switched from 4-blade down to 3-blade 100s, but
right.
I switched from the 4-blade down to the 3, and
right.
I think I was shooting 125s 4-blades, and now I'm that 100 grain 3-blade, because
right.
my arrows are so light. The PSE arrows that I shoot are my target ones are about 370 grains. So I'm right there pushing the limit on grains. Now, my hunting arrows are a little bit heavier, because when I got some of those, PSE come out, I don't know if you remember, where they come out with the hunter shaft.
Yep, I remember those.
And they're 7,000 straightness.
Okay.
And I says, okay, I got some in. I'm going to try them to see how well I can shoot with them.
Right.
And they're supposed to be 300 spine, but they come in at 400, which is heavier shaft.
Right.
Now, how their spine is kind of different, because PSE goes 100, 200, 300, 400. It's different spine. Other ones go the opposite direction.
Exactly. That's what I was fixing. I shoot a 600 spine in these recurves, but it's not like you would say. This is a light, not a heavy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's kind of all weird. It is. Each one's a little bit different, so you can't really use a number. You need to look at the shaft and the specs on it to find out which one you have to have. Well, they sent them in mismarked as 300, but they're actually 400, so they were heavier. It was a little bit heavier shaft,
right?
Because it's spined a little bit more, so it's gonna be a little heavier shaft. So I set them all up that way, not thinking that, and I found out that they were overweight. It's like, why am I almost 50 or 100 grains heavier? So when I had to replace them with some of my regular shafts, I had to put tubes in it to weigh them, get them way up the same, because I want them to weigh the same. I didn't want to have to recite all my beads in.
No.
And I'm looking, okay, on my broadheads, I was able to tune them in to shoot X's with my broadheads at 20 yards. Well, with the 007 shafts, I could hold it in the white ring, but I couldn't hold them in the X ring. So I'm still in that 10 ring, but I'm just, that's, from a 1-inch diameter to what is the on a
not
single
as
spot
tight
that,
as you wanted to be. Yeah, right.
Probably a 3-inch diameter. That's the difference between a 1,000 and a 7,000 straight in the shaft.
Exactly.
And I've done it other times where a buddy of mine was shooting a different brand of arrow, but his wasn't the 1,000. His was like a 3, and I give him some of my arrows, and he shot them, same draw length, roughly about the same weight. He's shooting a bit lighter weight, and his groups got so much tighter, and that wasn't even the arrows that was really set up for his bow.
Exactly.
Lighter arrow and straighter tolerances, and I've always hunted with the straight shafts. I used to get the XX 78s is what I hunted with.
Yep.
And a 25, was it
2512?
2512s, yeah, 2512s. And that's what I shot. And it's kind of weird. On there, I'd buy a new set of arrows for hunting season. I'd shoot them enough to get them sighted in, tuned up, and everything. And then after the hunting season, then I'd take the broadheads off and I'd use those for target. Well, the groups are nice and tight. They get wider and bigger and bigger and bigger. By the end of the season, where I get my new arrows, I might be able to group, 3 or 4 inch group where I was able to group 1 inch groups before.
Exactly.
And that's because on aluminum arrow, how do you break aluminum without using any tools? Keep flexing it, keep flexing
Yep.
it, flexing it, flexing
Yep.
it. And next thing you know, it breaks. And that's what the aluminum arrow, as they flex, they get weakened. But that's what's nice about the carbons nowadays, is
Yeah.
they're straight or broke. No in between.
I remember when the carbons first come out, everybody saying, I'll stick with my aluminums. And when more people got to shooting them and the groups got to getting tighter and you got more speed, and then everybody, you can find aluminums now, but it's just like day and night. Carbons is where it's at. I mean, hardly anybody
Right.
shoots aluminums anymore,
Well, and the first carbons that came out, there's no way I'd hunt with them, because if they broke, you had all these carbon fiber splinters all over.
Right.
Because the carbon fibers run from the knock to the tip back in a linear fashion like that. And then when they started coming out with the newer ones, now they cross them, one going horizontal, one going vertical. And then if you remember when PSC come out with their X weave, which
I
now
remember
the cross weave, and I've
Yep.
got some of those as well. When I closed the store, I kept all my Comp Pro 300 shafts.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm keeping these. I'm not getting rid of these because
I don't blame
I don't
you.
want to have to buy them. But yeah, archery has just come so far, and from when it first started, I don't know who thought of taking a string and sticking on a stick and taking another stick and flinging it. But that's archery.
Yeah. It's simple, but it's advanced. I mean, you look at it one way and you're thinking, man, how has this come from where it was at to now? It'd blow your mind,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's been amazing, how much archery has developed over the years. And it's just all in the last few years, 50 years ago is when the first compound was developed. And look where we've gone now. And crossbows, look at some of these new ones that, the whole thing's only maybe about 3 or 4 inches wide.
Yeah, it's like those Ravens. I've seen those, and
the
price goes with them. 2,500 to 3,000 or even more. But they're just amazing. I mean, I watched a guy shoot on a video on YouTube shooting at 100 yards. I didn't even think you could even, but man, he was putting them in there. You could have killed anything with that thing at 100 yards. He was grouping them, but they're just amazing. I don't know. They're a lot of power for a small package.
Right. And it's amazing how much they can put out.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Hey, any thoughts here before we end the podcast?
No, I just like to thank you for having me on. I've had a great time, and it's always good to talk to somebody that likes the same things you do. And I just like to, if anybody's watching this, if I can help in any way, I'm on Facebook every day, YouTube, whatever. You can just give me a holler. If I can help you, I will. If I can't, I'll find somebody that can.
Yeah. It's like I always say, I have an answer for everything. It might be I don't know. I'll find out.
Yeah,
it's an answer. Maybe not what you want, but it's an answer. So yeah, I'll just have you send the links to those things, and I'll put them in the description so people can contact you.
Okay.
They'll be in the podcast description, and they'll be in the YouTube post when I bring it up to my YouTube channel. And in the group, they can just message you. If they have any more information in there.
Right.
So yeah, it's been great talking to you.
Been real good talking to you, Roy. I really appreciate you.
Yeah. My name is Roy Canterbury. I've been the host today on Archery Talk 101, talking with Mike Johnson about his interesting career in archery, how he started out, and what he's doing with it now. So stay tuned for the next one. They come out every Monday and Friday is when we have a new one come out. So just take a look at the podcast, and we can look on Spotify. You can go look at it there. Or if you want to go to my YouTube channel, I'll have a link in the description. Those come out on Tuesdays and Saturdays. So you have to wait if you're going to go watch the video. Or the best place to do it is get in the Archery Talk 101 Facebook group, because we go live when we record them in there. And that's the best way to get them, because you can actually communicate with us like Bill did earlier.
Bill's a good dude, man. I like Bill.
Yeah. Really interesting.